सदा भजो शरणाई मन रे, सदा भजो हर शरणाई। सदा भजो हर शरणाई मन रे, सदा भजो हर शरणाई। गुर का शब्द अंतर वसे, ताहर विसर न जाए। सदा भजो हर शरणाई, सदा भजो हर शरणाई। अमृत छोड़ बिखिया लुभाने, सेवा करे वडाणी। अपना धर्म गवावे बूझे नाही, अन दुण दुख विहाणी। मन मुख अंध ना चेत ही, मन मुख अंध ना चेत ही। डूबे मुए बिन पानी मन रे, सदा भजो हर शरणाई मन रे, सदा भजो हर शरणाई। गुर का शब्द अंतर वसे, हर विसर न जाए। सदा भजो हर शरणाई मन रे, सदा भजो हर शरणाई। ए शरीर माया का पुतला, विच हाँ में दुष्टि पाए। आवण जाना जम्मण मारणा, मन मुख पात गवाए। सतगुर सेव सदा सुख पाया, सतगुर सेव सदा सुख पाया। ज्योति ज्योत मिलाए, सदा रहो हर शरणाई मन रे, सदा भजो हर शरणाई। सतगुर की सेवा अत सुखाले, जो इच्छे सो फल पाए। जत सत तप पवित शरीरा, हर हर मन वसाए। सदा आनंद रहे दिन राति, सदा आनंद रहे दिन राति। मिल प्रीतम सुख पाए, जो सतगुर की शरणागति ठाव तिन कै बल जाओ। डर सच्चै सच्ची वड्याई, सहजे सच समाओ। नानक नदरी पाइए, नानक नदरी पाइए। गुरमुख मेल मिलाओ। सदा भजो हर सरणाई मन रे, सदा भजो हर सरणाई। सदा भजो हर सरणाई मन रे, सदा भजो हर सरणाई। गुर का शब्द अंतर वसे, ताहर विसर न जाए। सदा भजो हर सरणाई, सदा भजो हर सरणाई। In our last sitting, in the 44th hymn, we concluded, "Eh सैसा मूले नहीं, भाव लाए जन कोए। नानक एक जोत दोए मूर्ति, शब्द मिलावा होए." The message, the start of the spiritual journey, the beginning. It does not matter which part of the system you look at. Any one of you who is desirous of searching, seeking, go to the in-depth analysis of all of the past religions and the masters and the systems they introduced. They will all lead to a single conclusion. And that conclusion is Shabad Milava Hoye. It is His word, it is His naam that leads back to Him. Because the whole of the universe came into existence with His single word. Islam says Allah said kun. Kun literally means hoja, be, and the whole of the universe was. Gurbani says, Kita pasao eko kovao, tiste hoye lakh dariyao. Kita pasao. Pasao means many, pasara, to expand. How did He expand from one? He says, eko kovao, kuna, bolana, to say a single word. His single word, Kita pasao eko kovao, with a single sound, single word, single command. Hoja. Just be. Sache te pavana bhaya, pavane te jal hoye, jal te tre bhavan sajya. Ghat ghat jot samay. In the beginning, He was. Now He is. After the end, He shall be. So what is in the process? It says, Sache te pavana bhaya. From that ultimate truth, the life sustenance energy, pavana, pavan, air, oxygen. And then from there to sustain the life, pavane te jal hoye, life source. From that point onward, everything else expanded. Jalate tre bhavan sajaya. Ghat ghat jot samoy. And then he became part of his creation. The basic difference between an ordinary creator like me and you and that creator. We cannot become part of the creation. Our creation is always separate from us. Our paintings, our statues, our poetry, everything is separate from us. He is the part of the creation. So, if you want to get back to him, if you want to go back to the source, then you have to take the sport of the Shabad, the word, and then go back. But the preachers today would not put you in touch with the Shabad. And therein lies the fallacy. There is the problem. That is the basic problem in every organized religion, bar none. Because they want to create an elaborate ritualistic system. More complex the system, better you feel and better the preacher feels. Why? Because preacher gets that much more. He's putting that much more effort. He's investing that much more time, that much more energy. So you yourself don't question him. Why the complexity? You actually feel good that he is saying more. And Gurbani is saying, no, you just need one word. There is no complexity here. Nothing is required. Come back. Come back to that source from where this all originated. One word. And the intellect, the brain, the mind, the common sense revolts. We are indoctrinated. It has become part of our genetic coding now. How is this possible? You must be pulling my leg. Do you mean to tell me that these 5,000 years of human history with these complex systems, they were all wrong? No, they were not all wrong. Their objective was different. They were not wrong. None of the systems, none of the preachers are wrong. They are leading you, they are advising you for a different purpose in mind. Your salvation, the end of life cycle of multiple births and deaths is not their objective. They couldn't care less. They want to attract the masses for one purpose and one purpose only: their own glorification. More the disciples, bigger the saint. Bigger the mandir, bigger the saint. More money, more world around the globe, more institutions, more branches. Look at that, how universal this person is. And then you sit down for a minute and say, well, that's great. This guy is known around the universe. He flies around the globe and has his own jets and everything. But by following what he is or she is saying, where am I? The basic test of evolution of mind-body system is what? Is my anger under control? Is my greed under control? Is my attachment under control? Is my ego under control? Or are they expanding? Are they? I feel good. Why? Because I'm part of this large organization. Not only that, I am head of the chapter in my own area. And when Maharaji come, they come to my home. And I take care of them. And I organize their timetable. Isn't that wonderful? How great I am. This feeling of how great I am, did you have that before you joined it? Obviously not. So what did this do? Instead of making you humble, instead of bringing humility, it actually padded your ego a little bit more. So rather than getting closer to the Creator, you got further away. The total opposite effect. Talk to any one of the organizers of any one big institution. I had a life experience just a few years ago. Somebody took me to Northern California. And in the Northern California, the oldest building was in Yuba City. And then on my way back, the person who was actually guiding me said, there is one more, they just opened it. Would you like to see that also? I said, well, there's nothing much to see, but if you want, we can stop by. So he swung by that institution also, and the caretaker was brought out to show me around. And the first word out of his mouth was, this hall is 30 feet longer than the hall you have just seen. My Gurdwara is bigger than that oldest Gurdwara. We are the biggest. That's the qualification of that institution. Being introduced by the so-called religious spiritual guide. And I told my guide, I said, we should head back to LA now. I think we've seen enough. It's just the eye dancing in a different form, in a different shape. There's nothing to be seen here, nothing to be learned from here. It is actually, when I look inside my own self, it is embarrassing to me personally that this is where the evolution of the human consciousness is, that we do not even understand the basic fundamental of spirituality. And they are not willing to talk about it. They want to feed your ego. They want to stroke your attachments so that you feel good. And in that feeling good, you contribute more. So the 44th hymn said, get back to the source. Ek Shabad. That will get you started. What it will do? It's a very common question. अजी ये तो तोता रटनी हो गई, ये कोई बात है? All of the devices, all of the technique start with the first step, which is quiet your mind. It doesn't matter how you quiet it. The mind is scattered. Multiple thought processes. I will pause for 5 seconds right now. Look inside you, just inside you, while you are listening here, sitting here. How many directions the mind is just going right now? How many things we are checking? What is he talking about? I have never heard this before. Oh, why did I come here? It's a waste of time. Oh, haven't I heard this before? Gazillion times. There's nothing new in here. How many things the mind are already saying? And if that is possible in just this simple evening, sitting down here, imagine what is happening to you when you are all by yourself and you sit down quietly and say, can I look inside? So, yeah, look inside. Who's taking care of the outside? The mind runs like crazy. So every system first says, quiet that monkey down. Sheikh Farid went as far to declare to the world, said, Aaj milawa Sheikh Farid, takam kunjadiyan manahoma chandadiyan. Aaj milawa. Right now, at this moment, you can meet your Creator now. Promised. Only one condition. Do what? Takam kunjadiyan. Takam tok. Stop. Kunjadiyan. Kunj means the birds flying around. Your thought process is like a bird that's flying around in the open sky. Stop it. Manaho machandadiyan. The noise inside you. Mana. The noise. Machandadiyan. Shor machaya. Machaya hoya. Kaade vich? Man vich. That noise inside your mind, shut it up. If you can do that, meet your Creator now. So the purpose of getting attached and practicing the single word is only this much. This is your first step toward the evolution of the spirit, which would first help to quiet the mind. Concentrate that energy into a single source and then utilize that energy to go to the higher states of consciousness. Hence, the next hymn. And next hymn, Rahao the line keh rahi hai. The central theme, Man re sada bhajo har saranai. If the Gurvani is promising you Shabad Milava Hoye, as the 44th hymn said, then why don't you get started? What more do you need? What are those words? What is the promise? What is the motivation that you need to get going? What more should be done? Oh my mind, man re bhajo. Bhajana shuru kar. Naam simran shuru kar. So that you can get to your source, Har Saranai. It will get you there. Because once you start that, what will happen? Next line. Look at the link in the thought processes. Look at the link in the hymns. What will happen? It says, Gur ka shabad antarvas hai. It says, when you start the bhajana, jap, that word will start going inside rather than staying outside repetition. When you repeat, slowly, it will become part of your inner self. It will go in your heart rather than from your mouth. It will go inside. Anything that you repeat, slowly start going inside. Gur ka shabad antar vase, ta har visar na jai. Isn't that obvious? If you say tu, then you cannot say ma. Then I disappears because you are repeating tu. So he says, if that word becomes a part of you, it goes inside, then is it possible ever to forget him? Don't you see the logic of it? Don't you see the strength of the statement? That just repeat. Repeat till it goes inside. Then you will try to forget him and he will not let you forget it. Because it will become part of you. We say a very simple thing. Oh, it's like riding a bicycle. Once you have ridden it, you don't ever forget. No matter how many years you have not touched the bicycle, all you do is put yourself on the seat and it goes. Isn't it? Why? Because it has become part of the genetic now. It won't. You just have to put the effort until it becomes the part of you. That's the only requirement. That's the only effort required. Just continue with full belief, full faith, till it becomes part of you. Gur ka shabad antarvasai. Get to that stage. And then it goes on an autopilot. Just as when we learn to drive the car, the teacher will say, look straight. Well, I am looking at straight. No, the car is going on the right side. You are looking on the right side. No, I am not looking at. But the car is telling him that no, you are looking that way. And then a time comes when we read the signs and we drink the coffee and we are blowing the horn, but the car is moving. What happened? The repetition eventually broke that resistance. It became part of you. And that's a requirement. That's a starting process. But instead of doing that, what are you doing? This is where the hymn starts. It says, Amrit Chhod, Bikhia Lobhaney, Seva Kare Vedani. Instead of seeking the nectar, the blissfulness of life, Amrit, Amrit, the one which will help you transcend the cycle of life and death. Mrit, Mirtu, Amrit. Amrit word means the one which transcends the life and death cycle. So you are not worried about that. What are you looking for? Bikhia Lobhaney. What's Bikhia? Wish, Zahar. Bikhia. Vishnu, Bikhia. You are constantly seeking the poison of sensual pleasures. Constantly. On the search of not the one that will transcend you, help you go beyond it, but actually the one which will tie you down, back, squarely. Will not let you move. And what is the illusion? While you are doing that, he says, Seva Kare Vadani. And you are sitting with the belief, well, let's not as a personal comment, but as a way to look at the spirituality. When Birla built that mandir, how do you think he felt? What a great job I am doing. And he did not name it as, nobody calls it a Bhagwan ka mandir. Everybody says it's Birla mandir, isn't it? His name is written on top. Birla mandir. ना वो राम का है, ना वो कृष्ण का है, ना हनुमान का है, वो किसी का नहीं है, वो बिरले का है. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Right on the wall. As you enter. Birla mandir. And he is sitting with the impression, what? Seva Kare Vadani. What a great service I have done. That was self-glorification. That was building of the ego. These are all the signs of ego. Everywhere. When Sahar Ludhianvi says, मेरी महबूब कहीं और मिलाकर मुझसे, क्यों? एक शहनशाह ने मोहब्बत का सहारा लेकर हम गरीबों की मोहब्बत का उड़ाया है मजाक. He looks at the Taj Mahal and he says, people say it is sign of love. Are you trying to tell me the one who cannot build a Taj Mahal does not love just as much as he loved? Is this a sign of love, or is it a sign of his arrogance, his own ego representing there? How you want to look at it? It all depends. What's your outlook? So when we do ye big Akhand Path and yajnas and all of that, what are we doing? We are under the illusion, Seva Kare Vadani. We invited so many people, इतने लोगों का प्रीति भोजन किया गया है, इतनी सामग्री जलाई गई है, इतनी आहुति दी गई है, इतना दान दिया गया है. सेवा करे वडानी. And what is actually happening? Say, look at the bottom of it. Go deep inside. Actually, it is a collection of poison. Why? Because it is stroking the ego to go higher and higher rather than subduing and subduing. Rather than creating humility, it is creating more and more arrogance. And what is happening? What's the end result of that? Apana dharma gavave bujhe nahi. He says, Gurbani says, this Jagyasu have not understood the riddle. It's not a mystery. It's not something that he cannot understand. It was a very simple riddle. And what was the riddle? Pay attention to the inside, not the outside. All of the religious act of every kind, if it is stroking the ego or creating the attachment or creating the greed, it is actually taking you in the opposite direction. So look inside. Understand this riddle. Otherwise, what is happening? Apna dharma gavave. He's losing everything. Buje nahi. Doesn't understand anything. And then, andhen dukh vihani. And then he wonders what's wrong with everything. Whole of the life is a pain and frustrations. And then he goes on asking, I don't understand this. I am such a regular participant in every religious society. I share my income regularly. But I am still in pain. Why is God doing that to me? He is at fault. अपनी तकदीर ही ऐसी है, हमारे भाग्य ही ऐसे. और Gurbani says, nothing has happened to your bhagya, nothing has happened to your taqdeer. You just forgot the fundamentals of spirituality. You just forgot. You do not believe those who come and tell you the truth. You poo-poo them away. Farida, kukendeya, changendeya, matti dendeya nit. The spiritual master comes and they yell at the top of their voice. Kukendeya, kook dene. Changendeya, changra maar dene. Oh, come around. Listen to the truth. Understand the truth. Follow the truth. And say, oh yeah, heard enough of it. And then what happens? Anudin dukh vihani. Whole of the life continues that way. Manmukh and na chetai doobumuve bin pani. Manmukh, the one who is following his own mind or the mind of the others. He is not listening to the Guru. The Gurmukh is the one who is listening to the Guru. Manmukh is the one who is listening to the self. Intellectual justifications. And he said, it is just like committing suicide by drowning in the water. Doobamuwe benapani. Whole of the life is destroyed. Oh mind, come back to the source. Sadha bhajo har saranai. Get back to the source. Come back and start the job. And that will lead to Gurka Shabad Antaravasai Ta Harvisarana Jai. Then you will be able to continue with your routines of life without ever forgetting him. Because the one you love, one you remember, stays with you day in, day out, in the sleep, in the wake up. If you don't believe, talk to anybody who has fallen newly in love and see how much work he does and how many telephone calls he makes. What's going on? That's that energy. That is that pull. No effort is required. You don't need to put a yellow marker or a stick-on label anywhere to remember to call. Every 15 minutes, just pick up the phone and call. How you doing? Just wanted to hear your voice. Thank you. I'm getting back to work. Oh, you just heard my voice. Another 15 minutes in here. How you doing? What's going on? Right? Ask a grandmother. How many telephone calls to the daughter-in-law? How's that little one? Mom, you just left here. Oh, is he asleep or he's awake? Oh, okay. When he wakes up, I'll call again. And in 15 minutes, is he up yet? I just want to hear his voice. And Gurbani is saying, why can't you get involved with that the same level?
You already have enough of experience. You know it is possible to do, and you say, no, don't have the time. Why can't you? You have already lived through that stage at one phase of your life or the other. Whether as a young child, whether as a grown-up man or a woman, or whether as an old person, middle-aged person, you have gone through this stage where you know how to internalize something. Who are you kidding? At least develop the honesty that I am only giving this a lip service. I need spirituality. I need to meet God. I don't want to be born again. I want to have nirvana. I want to have... Would you stop this nonsense? At least acknowledge it to yourself. This is all a game. So the other world thinks I am so great. But in reality, I want to enjoy this life. I want to enjoy these pleasures of the flesh, of the mind, of the body. And he says, understand, ਇਹ शरीर माया का पुतला विच हਉਮੈ दुष्टि पाई. Nobody is immune to this malady, which is what? Everybody who has the mind-body system also has the ego. That you were born with it. And then the society reinforced it. The parents reinforced it. The universities reinforced it. The business partners reinforced it. Everywhere you go, the peer pressure, what do you mean you can't do that? Or yes, you can. Oh, you are so great. Yes, you can. They all reinforce it. Having understood that, also know that it is that ego, it is that haume, which is the root cause of avan, jana, jamman, marna. हमें एहा जात है, हमें कर्म कमाए, हमें एई बंधना फिर जो नहीं पाए. It is that ego which is responsible for your cycle of life and death. It brings you back. After the body gets old, it drops, your essence travels back. It's not done doing what it wanted to do, it comes back. And you are in that cycle. Understand that. You cannot, by other means, get rid of it, except Aman jana jamman marna man mukh pat gavai. Otherwise you will be absolutely in the trap of this cycle, unless Satgur Sev Sada Sukhapaya Jyoti Jyot Milai. Unless you get started on that path, listen to the word from the Guru. It is not complex. It's not difficult. It is not a mystery that you cannot solve. It is just your not making a conscientious choice. That's all. That is all. You just have to choose. If you don't choose, avan jana jamman marna manmukh pat gavai, then you have lost this opportunity. And it is not so difficult. Satgur ki seva at sukhali. Oh mind, it is not difficult. It's very easy. Look how many things. As a child, you learned to walk on the 2 feet, to stand on 2 feet. You know how complex that task is? To balance your body against the pull of the gravity and stand up. Right? Every mother knows that. That's the first thing to do for a child. To teach the child to balance the entire muscle structure. Do you know that? Humans were not designed or born to walk on two. Human body actually is to walk on four. Because we didn't want to walk on four. Man did not want to walk on four. Why? Read Darwin theory. The science will tell you. Why didn't he want to walk on two? Mystics say, leave all the science. He just does not want to be like an animal. He wants to be different. He wants to stand out. Because every other animal have the feet, legs, and the hands and the paws. They use the force. Human didn't want to. It want anything that the animal does, we do the opposite. Look around. Watch a dog when you throw something in front of him. What does he do? He takes the bone and he runs. And he wants to eat alone. Every animal. What do? We set up the table. Opposite. Animal uses hands, we use forks. When the animal is in heat, he will have sex anywhere. What do? That's one thing that we want to hide from everybody. Whatever animal does, animal is naked, we wear clothes. Had we not worn clothes, don't you think that we would have adapted to the environment? No, why did it develop that way? I am smarter. I am better than the animal. And actually, we compare the human with the animal when he doesn't behave right. To the kota. Right? To call somebody a dog or a jackass is considered to be an abuse. And if we were to be 1% of a dog, how much great we would be. Have you ever looked at his faithfulness? मालक डंडा मार दो फिर भी आके पैर चटदा है. Have we ever done that? But we don't want to be called a dog. खोता सारी उम्र भार चुकदा है, शिकायत नहीं करदा, ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ करने. But I don't want to call a jackass. Why? I am better than an animal. And Gurbani says, for the human it is exactly the opposite. Listen to this conclusion of Gurbani. Kartut pasuki manas jaat lok pachara kare din raat. Look at it. Kartut. Every action is like an animal. Even though the body is a human. Kartut pasuki manas jaat. Why? He says the whole of the life is dedicated to one thing. What is? Lok pachara. How will the other think? Pachara, parchana. Kinanu? Loganu. Lok pachara kare din raat. Every action is dependent upon how would the society look at it. Never comes to his mind how would he look at it. That question never comes. Even though when he sits on top, God is everywhere. Oh? So if the God is everywhere and he sees everyone, how come you are behaving like this? Never happens. And Gurbani says, Satgur ki seva at sukhaliye. Look, it is not difficult. It is not at all. All you need to do is what? Jo ichhe. You just have to have that desire. You just have to develop that need, that hankering. And if you develop that hankering, you'll get there. So falpai. The one who develops that hankering, there is nothing stopping him. And then what will happen? He says, who develops that, Jat, Sat, Tap, Pavit, Sarira, Har Har, Manavasai. Then he stops all other rituals, all other jap, all other tap, all everything else is stopped, and he is only concerned with one thing, which is har har mane vasai. That thing should become part of me. It should go deep into me. The one that I had said earlier, that it should go Gur ka shabad antar vasai. That's the only thing left. Sada anand rahe din rati mil pritam sukh paye. So now, if that choice is made instead of andin ran vehani, andin life the getting wasted, now it will absolutely reverse. Nothing else is going to happen. The inner will change. Outer you will exactly be the same. Nothing else. From the outside, I have said many times, a saint and a madman look exactly the same from outside. We don't understand what a madman is doing because the action don't make sense to me. And the saint, I don't see what the hell he is doing either. He sees me hungry, whatever is in his pocket, he just gives us a son. Tusi ki karoge, don't worry about it. See, it doesn't make sense. You can share with me, but give it all. It doesn't make sense. But to him, it makes perfect sense. To us, it doesn't. So, after the enlightenment, what do you think happened to Buddha? He lived 40 years. He didn't stop eating, didn't start sleeping, didn't start talking or meeting with the people. He was doing everything that we are doing. So what was the difference? Something inside. A certain blissfulness, a certain detachment, certain freedom from the senses. Everything else going on exactly the same way. But inner quality is night and day. Sada anand rahe din rati mil pritam sukh paye. Jo Satguru ki saranagati हाउ तिन कह बल जाऊं दर सच्चै सच्ची वड्याई सहजे सच समाओ. जो सतगुरु की शरणागति. So once that desire develops, what will happen? You will seek someone, something who can now become your beacon of light. Satguru ki saranagati. You will look for that company. You will look for that crowd, that sangat, that person. And what will do that? How tin ke bal jao. How? That ego, you will just surrender to that and say, I am tired. Just help me to go beyond this. And from there what you will get? Dar sacche sachi vadayai. If this is the right sangat, you will only get one thing. Just one thing. How to achieve the ultimate truth. You will not hear, my system is better than that system. You will not hear, my institution is better than that. Mine is more modern. Mine is big, better, big. No. He will not say, come back to my system. He will say, get back to that original source. Whichever way you can. This is how I am following it. If you want to come along on the same path, good. If you don't, still good. But choose a path and stay focused on the ultimate. Nothing in the middle. Dar sacche, sachi vadayai, sahaje sach samao. And then this is a path on which you cannot rush anything. Sahaje, sahaj avastha. Not to put the mind-body system in crisis. Hat yoga nahi hai. If you cannot do something sitting straight up on the floor, there is no reason to worry about it. Sit on the chair. You can't sit at all, lie down on the... You can't lie down because you fall asleep. Start walking. Don't look for excuses. Stand up, sahaj. Don't punish your mind body, otherwise that will create another set of problems. Sahaje sach samao. Get on that path. Nanak nadari paiye gurumukh mela banao. If you get on that source, then His grace is automatic. Because He knows who is playing games and who is sincere. Why? Antarjami means what? Antar means inside. Jam means to live. He lives inside. So whatever's inside, He already knows. You may be saying from the outside world, help me do this, but He knows really what you really want. So saying the words would not deceive Him. You really have to change that thinking. You really have to want that, desire that. So this is the 45th hymn. So we'll take a pause here today. As you can see that my throat is not being very cooperative. So I apologize for that. We'll stop at 45th and we'll start with the 46th and 47th when we meet next time. With that, I want to thank you all for coming. I know the weather is not very helpful and you still made it. I appreciate that. And now we will open for any discussion.